Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be very vulnerable, and I honestly didn't really plan to share all these things when I sat down to film, but it just kind of came out. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing some things about me, some things I haven't told you, just that have happened over the past year that I wanted to share with you. And we also did this makeup look. Again, I pulled out tons of makeup that I love so much and I'm just really thankful for. So again, this is kind of full face of makeup I'm thankful for and sharing some things with you along the way. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of makeup and beauty content here on YouTube. I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. But let's go ahead and get into the video. I hope you enjoy and let's get started. All right, I went ahead and applied, of course, my Patrick Ta Brow Wax, the tinted one. Since this is another video about being thankful for this makeup, I knew that's the one brow product that I can honestly say I'm very thankful for. So I figured I would just skip that and I'm gonna let them kind of sit for a few minutes and then we'll fill them in a little bit later. I wanted to start with the face today. I'm just kind of in that mood. So we're gonna do Corrector as always. And the one I'm gonna use is Charlotte Tilbury. So this one is the shade medium. This is not my absolute favorite. My absolute favorite is Bobbi Brown. I get asked that a lot. My absolute favorite corrector as of right now is Bobbi Brown, but I have to say this one is a close second. I really like this. I love the color. This is the shade medium. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to film today and couldn't really decide. I'm in a little bit of, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a little bit of a funk today. I just, everyone has those days where you just feel kind of like off. You're not really sure why, but you just kind of feel off. That's how I feel today. And I figured the best way to get out of that would be to pull out some makeup that makes me feel really good. And my last video I did that I called Makeup I'm Thankful For, you guys really seemed to like that. And that was really fun. That video, I just loved how it turned out. It was fun to film. I loved the makeup in the end. And it was very therapeutic to film that. So kind of feeling like I need some makeup therapy today. So that is why we are filming another one of these videos. Okay, for foundation, I want to use this. So this is the Dermablend CC Continuous Correction Cream, and it has SPF 50. This came out earlier this year, and I personally love this product. I think this is the better version of the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. It is very similar in consistency. It gives great coverage, but this one does not have the weird scent, and it does not, I don't know, the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, I should say, because I really like the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better. But the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, I can never get that to look the way I wanted it to. Every time I used it, I don't know. Something about it just was not it for me. And I tried this earlier this year and I loved this from the first time I used it. It's really great coverage, but it looks so pretty on your skin. I don't know how to explain it other than it just has a very skin-like finish without compromising coverage. Because sometimes I find makeup that really looks like skin can sometimes not have maybe the coverage that you're looking for, whereas this has both. And I think this is the only thing I've ever tried from Dermablend actually, but I tried it earlier this year and I just really enjoy it. Every time I use it, I really, really love how it looks. I mean, hopefully the finish of this comes off on camera. It is so pretty. It just looks like skin that's been perfected is what it looks like. It does not look like makeup. It has just a little bit of a glow. Hopefully you can see. And I did not apply, for once, the flawless filter underneath. So this glow is not coming from a primer or anything. It's just the foundation. For concealer, I want to use Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. I feel like for the longest time, I couldn't get into this concealer until I started using the shade Madeleine. And clearly that was what I needed to do, because ever since I started using that shade, I loved it. I will say it's not, I don't think this is a full coverage concealer. I think this is a solid medium coverage. I'm trying the Patrick Ta method today with applying concealer. I was watching him in a video the other day and I was just noticing how he applies concealer. So he basically takes a small eyeshadow brush, like this is the Persona Cosmetics eyeshadow brush, and he basically like blends out the edges of the concealer and then he goes over it with a sponge. So believe it or not, I am not using my FO3, although I still love it. Really, I could do this technique with the FO3. I was just going to use this brush because he uses, it looks like just a small eyeshadow brush from what I've seen in his videos. And okay, you guys, I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this in this video, but I feel like since we're talking about being grateful and things like that, I feel like this is the right time to talk about this. This is something that I knew I was going to share eventually, but I just kind of wasn't sure how or when or if I should or shouldn't. But I feel like you guys that watch consistently are, you know, my friends, and I just kind of want to tell you where I'm at. So before I get into that, I'm going to take this damp sponge and just kind of go over my under eyes. So I'm I don't know why I'm nervous to talk about this, because it happened a while ago and I don't know, it's just kind of one of those things. I don't really know how or when or if like I should share it or not, but I'm just going to tell you. So I actually left my job. I left my job in the beginning of July. July 2nd was my last day. And so it's been, we're in the end of November right now. So it's been July, August, September, October. This is the 5th month that I've been away from the job. And first I want to start out by kind of explaining, well, first I'll tell you what I did. I mentioned this in a Q&A a while ago, but basically I won't talk like super specifically about it, but basically I worked for a home health company. I worked from home. I worked from home even before everything happened with COVID and all that. So I worked from home and I did scheduling for them, and I'd been there for about 4 years. And when I left, just to be honest, I was burnt out. I was so burnt out from this job. It was a lot of work and a lot of stress for not great pay, if I'm being honest. I kind of toyed with the idea for a while before I actually did it, and it just kind of got to the point where, to me at least, and my husband too, the mental part of it, like the stress and the kind of anxiety and the mental part of it was just not worth it. Just was not worth it, and it was making me miserable. I mean, I obviously started YouTube while doing this job because I started YouTube in 2019. We lived in our old house in South Carolina, and that's when I started YouTube. And so I, did YouTube and that job for a little over 2 years, I guess. And I mean, I was able to do it, but I was finding that when I was not working, I didn't even really want to do the things that I love, like this, like YouTube. Because I was so burnt out, I just didn't want to do anything when I had a second to like not do my work. And it just got to the point where we decided that I was going to leave and I was going to work on YouTube, which is what I've been doing for the past 5 months. And the first thing I want to put out there, because you're probably thinking it, I would be thinking it if I were you, is no, I did not quit because I'm making all this money on YouTube. And it was just like an easy financial decision. That's definitely not the case. It was not. In fact, it's made our finances much more difficult. But I just felt, I don't know how to explain it other than to say I felt like it was the right thing to do. And I felt like at this point in my life, if ever there was a time for me to work on something like YouTube that I'm really passionate about and that I love so much. Like when I tell you I love YouTube, I'm not just saying that, like I really do. And to be honest, you have to love it to do YouTube because it is a lot of work. If you've never done it, if you've never posted videos, it's hard to understand until you do it, but it is a lot of work. And it's work that if you don't truly love it, you're gonna burn out from it and get sick of it. I'm just telling you, because it is not just throw a video up on the internet. Like it can be, I guess, if you want, but if you're like actually taking it seriously and want it to turn into something, it is a lot of work, a lot. Anyway, that is why around that time, I started posting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I used to, when I started my channel, I posted on Wednesdays and Fridays, and let me tell you, that was hard to do. I wanted to do it every single week, and I did for the most part. I missed a few weeks. For the most part, I did post every Monday or every Wednesday and Friday, and the only way I did that truly was because I spent my whole weekend, every weekend, and a lot of weeknights working on YouTube. Because during the week, I did not have any time. I was busy with my job, and, by the time nighttime came, by the time you eat dinner and you kind of unwind for a minute, it was time for us to go to bed and get up and do it all over again. So I was able to do it, but it was not an easy thing to do. So people that work 40 plus hours a week and put out content consistently every week on YouTube, they are really like hustling because it is not easy. It is not easy at all. And the other thing is, assuming that you film a video and nothing goes wrong, you don't have to refilm anything or, you know, you don't have any technical problems or anything like that. If you do and you have certain days and only certain times where you can film, like, you're like kind of out of luck. Like if I were to film a year ago on a Saturday and a Sunday and one of those videos ended up, the audio was messed up or the files were corrupted or, you know, whatever, I wouldn't be able to refilm it until the next weekend. And then that would put you behind on everything else. It's just, it's a lot of work is what I'm trying to say. But it's what I love more than anything. And, you know, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if, you know, I will go back to working full time. I don't know. But right now, what I'm trying to do is YouTube, and I just wanted to share that with you because I want you, like I said in another video, I want you to feel like you know me, and I feel like this is like a big part of my life that I had not shared on YouTube, and that was just because I did not really know how to share it. I didn't want anyone to judge me or anything like that, and I'm sure people still will, and that's okay. But I definitely want to acknowledge that I'm definitely grateful and thankful that I'm in a position where I was able to quit my job and attempt to work on YouTube and, you know, hopefully do it full time and make like a decent income off of it. Because right now I'm not making anywhere close to what I was making at my other job, and my other job did not pay well at all for the work that was required. So, you know, don't think that I quit my job because I'm making all this money over here on YouTube and I don't need that job, because that is definitely not the case. But I am grateful that I'm in a position where we can live on what my husband makes. But, you know, our lifestyle did have to change. My lifestyle had to change in order to be able to do that, which is why I don't put out as much new makeup content as I did when I first started my channel. When I first started, I did a lot of, or I did What's New Wednesday when I first started my channel, and I reviewed a new product every single Wednesday. Okay, my camera ran out of memory while I was talking, but I was applying the Makeup by Mario blush in the shade Dusty Rose, and then the bronzing product was the contour wand from Charlotte Tilbury. But I was talking about What's New Wednesday was what I used to do, and I used to review a new product every single Wednesday, and that's what I did really for the first year of my channel. And I love doing that, but you know, now that things are different and you know, I'm just doing this, I have to be much more strategic and careful about what I buy, because I have to use the money I make from my videos as of right now. And you know, when you're a small channel like mine, most often, or I can't really speak for everyone, but typically you're not getting a ton of sponsorships at this stage of a YouTube channel. So really the only money you're making is once you're monetized on YouTube, which is when you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. And then you're able to make money from the ads on your video. So that's the only source of income that I have right now in terms of this channel. Every now and then, I mean, I do get random emails for, you know, products to be sent to me, but 9 times out of 10, they're products I'm not interested in, or just things that I would never use. So obviously I'm not going to talk about it. The only one, and I'm so grateful, is Dossier. That was my first ever paid sponsorship, and I'm so grateful for that. But you know, primarily where any income from YouTube comes from right now is from the ads you see on the video. Okay, for powder, I want to use a little bit, or actually, you know what? Before we do that, I want to take the contour wand, which I'm glad I opened this up because I just realized I did not close it. And I'm just taking what's left on the little sponge tip. And I'm just going to put it on my nose. I'm not really sure why. I don't really contour my nose, but I'm just doing it because I have extra product here on the end and I don't really want to waste it. So, and then I'm also putting some on my jawline. So I'll use the small end of this little It Cosmetics brush. This is the number 7 Heavenly Face brush. Okay, now I'm going to take my Bare Minerals powder and I'm going to put this in the center of my face. This is another powder I tried this year and I love. I feel like I've tried so many powders this year and I'm so excited that I finally have a few that I actually really like. Because typically I have not been a huge powder person until now. Now that I have this one, I have the Kosas one, and then I have the number 7 one, I have turned into much more of a powder person. Okay, and then let's see. Kind of in the mood to use this. I actually really like this powder. I don't use it often because I don't do like this kind of glammy makeup that often. But this is the Huda Easy Bake powder in the shade Cupcake. And it's kind of a pinky toned powder. And I don't really put this on the rest of my face. I only put this under my eyes to set my concealer, and it's a pinky color, so it kind of helps brighten, especially if you have like under eye discoloration like I do. And then I'm gonna get the powder on the pointy end of my sponge, and I'm just gonna lightly tap this under my eyes, and I'm not using a lot of it. I know a lot of people do like the baking method. I don't apply that much. I just apply just a little bit, and I find for some reason if I'm doing this under my eyes, I personally like to use a sponge. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it just applies powder under your eyes just a little bit better. If you're using a loose powder like this, if you're using like a pressed powder, I think like a little eyeshadow brush is fine, but loose powder can be a little bit trickier. Okay, I am gonna quickly fill in my eyebrows with, well, I shouldn't say quickly because this is not really a quick process. And I'm gonna use this. This is the NYX Lift and Snatch. I just discovered this. So many of you told me that I needed it, and you are so right. I used it for the first time the other day and I loved it. So I'm just gonna lightly fill in. Definitely a learning curve to this type of brow product because the trick is the amount of pressure that you use. You have to use a really light hand. Okay, I'm probably just gonna speed through this because I can't really talk and do this at the same time. Okay, one thing about using this pen is at some point I have to just make myself like stop because I'll just sit and just like try to perfect for hours and hours and hours. One thing I will say, if you're going to use a pen like that, I feel like you need to get a mirror and like hold it really, really close to be able to see what you're doing. To me, it's kind of all about being light-handed and not overdrawing, but drawing like strategically. I don't know if you, hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. Now I'm using a little bit of Tom Ford bronzer. This is the Glow bronzer. It's the little mini size. I'm obviously thankful for this bronzer because it is very pricey, and I definitely don't use it as much as I should. So I figured I would go over everything with a little bit of that. And then I want to add just a little bit of this blush. And this I discovered this year, and I'm so happy I did. It's so good. It's the LA Girl Just Natural blush. And it is so beautiful. So I'm just putting a little bit of that over that Makeup by Mario. I'm going to quickly prime my eyes, and then we will move on to the eyeshadow. Okay, we're gonna move on to a little bit of eyeshadow. I'm actually gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eye palette again. I really wanna use some of these light shimmers in here. I didn't really use those the last time I used this palette for a video, so I wanna do that. But I'm first going to take a little bit of that Tom Ford bronzer, and I'm going to use that as my transition shade. And I'm basically going to do, this kind of what I've been doing recently is pulling my shadow out a little bit and kind of connecting over this way, because it really helps kind of lift your eye up. Okay, so I wasn't gonna share all this in this video, but like I said in the beginning, I'm kind of feeling like I need like some makeup therapy today, and I feel like kind of sharing some things. I wasn't gonna share this also in this video, but now I was sitting here thinking I might as well just talk about it. So 2021 has been an interesting year. It's been good for some reasons, and it has not been good for other reasons. Okay, I'm gonna go into the Charlotte Tilbury in this pinky shimmery shade. I don't even really know how to start this story, but something else that happened this year that definitely kind of changed my perspective on things, and it's not something that I really love to talk about, but at the same time, I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about more, and now I feel like I'm kind of at a point where I'm okay to talk about it. But earlier this year, you may remember, if you've been with my channel since around March, end of March, beginning of April, I think it was around the time I did those declutter videos. I did like a bronzer one and a blush one and a foundation one. I did a bunch of them in a row, and I know around that time I had mentioned in a video that I hadn't been feeling really good, and I didn't really know why. So I ended up going to the doctor. Some of you may know we have not been here in North Carolina very long. It's been about a year now, but I did not have a doctor or anything here at the time, so I wasn't feeling good, and I didn't really know why. I knew something was kind of off. I went to an OBGYN because it was kind of time for me to go to one anyway, and I was like, well, you know, I'm not feeling fantastic, so I should probably just go. So I did, and I was still at this point just not feeling good, and I did not know why. So I went to the doctor, and if you know when you go to the OBGYN, you like, they get your weight and they get your blood pressure and they talk about like your family history and all that, and a lot of times they take a urine sample, and they did when I was there. And I remember I was sitting in the room waiting for the doctor to come in, and I was sitting there and I just didn't feel good and whatever, and she came in. Obviously I'd never been to this doctor before because we just moved here. Okay, I'm like all over the place in this video, but anyway, so I go to the doctor, sitting there, I'm waiting for her to come in. She comes in and she's like, you know, I'm sorry you haven't been feeling good and all that. And she was like, you know, tell me about that. So I was telling her, you know, I didn't have a lot of energy. I felt very weak a lot of the time, and I was just tired, and I also was having like stomach aches. Like something was just not right, and that's why I finally went to the doctor. And she said, you know, well, I'm glad you came in. You know, we did do a pregnancy test and it was positive. And I still remember that so well. It's kind of one of those moments where you're like so like in shock that you just you can't even really formulate a thought. So I was just kind of sitting there and I was like honestly kind of freaking out, because I mean, it had crossed my mind before I went that was a possibility, but I don't know. I had just convinced myself in my mind, like, that's not it. Like, there's no way. But anyway, that's what she told me, and it was just a lot. It was a lot, and I do want to have a family one day, but I haven't really talked about this on YouTube either, but I am definitely someone that wants to wait until a little later in life to have kids. I'm not someone that really wanted to have kids in my early 20s. That's just not really what I've ever wanted for myself. But yeah, that was really hard. So, you know, or you may not know, but when you are pregnant, I don't know a whole lot. I learned a whole lot when all this happened. But when you're pregnant, you have your blood drawn, and they check your HCG levels, which I still really don't understand what that means. But that day she was like, you know, we are going to check your HCG levels today. Since, you know, you've been having this stomach pain and stuff, we need to see like what's going on, basically, is what she said. So I did that. I had my blood drawn, you know, and you have to wait like 24 hours or however long. And something else about me is, not only do I not like the doctor, I hate to get blood drawn. I don't like needles. I just don't. I never have, and it's never gotten any easier for me. But anyway, I had that done that day, and you know, I left and I called my husband, and you know, we were both just kind of in shock. So, okay, sorry, I'm trying to do this new wing technique where you basically like go over the fold of your eye if your eye is hooded. Anyway, it's really hard to do that and talk about this at the same time. But anyway, so I have my HCG checked for the first time, and it was about what it would be really early on in pregnancy. Like like 4 weeks along. We check the HCG, I go home, I tell Chris, and I'm having like a little bit of a panic attack at this point because I just wasn't mentally prepared for that. And not that, you know, being pregnant would be this horrible thing, but it just wasn't something I was ready for, and I'm not a big fan of surprises. So I wasn't feeling good, and then I went, and it was a really stressful day anyway. So I then go back 2 days later, or 48 hours later, I think, and they have to check your HCG again, and they basically, from what I understand, say that it's supposed to, you know, increase in early pregnancy and double in a lot of cases. So I had it checked again, and it had gone down by like 100. It had decreased, not like substantially, but it had gone down. So, you know, they were like, you know, that's not typical of what we see in an early pregnancy like this, if it's a viable pregnancy. But, you know, we're going to test you again in another 48 hours. Well, in another 48 hours, it had decreased again by a lot. It had gone down by like half. And at that point, I went back into the doctor, and she said, you know, you had a miscarriage. That's what this was. That's why the HCG was low. That's why you haven't been feeling good. That's why I was also having like some breakthrough bleeding and things like that. And that's what happened. So it was just a lot of things at once. And anyway, the reason I'm sharing this is because when I was going through this, I was like constantly watching things on YouTube, like trying to figure out what was going on and like what was normal and what wasn't. And because when things happen, like if you've never been pregnant before and, you know, you're told that you're pregnant but they're unsure of why you're having these, you know, you're not feeling good, you're having stomach aches, you're having breakthrough bleeding, like all of these things, you start like trying to figure it out on your own, like what's going on, and watching things on YouTube, and that's not always the best thing to do because you just end up freaking yourself out. But I want my channel to be relatable, and I want to share like not just about makeup. Obviously that's what my channel is about, that's what my channel will always be about, but I feel like those of you that watch me all the time kind of, you know me at this point, and these are things that have all happened this year, and I haven't shared them just because I didn't really know how, but for some reason today felt like the time. Okay, my camera keeps dying on me, but what I was saying is I wanted to share this. I wanted to share these things because the people that I love to follow on YouTube are people that, you know, are real, and they share not just like rainbows and sunshine all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like life is not always easy. In fact, a lot of times it's not. It's hard. And that's kind of why I wanted to share. Just so you know where I'm coming from, and kind of just because we're coming to the end of the year, and I've just been thinking about all these things, and I just wanted to share them with you. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with this. This is the Rare Beauty mascara. Okay, I used this for the first time in a video yesterday, and I was like blown away by this. I'm gonna use it again and see if I have the same reaction. I mean, look at that. That was like one coat. And I also, I wore this mascara all day yesterday, and I had zero transfer on my eye by the end of the day, which is something I think I mentioned in another video. I've started to notice with myself is mascaras are starting to kind of transfer on me sometimes. And I've never really had an issue with that before, but now I seem to be having more problems with that. But this one did not at all. So I want to use it again and see what I think. Okay, last for the lips. I'm gonna try to rub off my lip balm. Okay, I am gonna go into Anywhere Caffeine from Makeup Forever. I've actually had this lip liner for quite a while, but I kind of rediscovered it this year. I really, really like it though. It's a really good, kind of more of a brown, but it's not too brown, if that makes sense. Oh, and the other thing I kind of wanted to say is along the lines of my YouTube and me wanting to do this, you know, full time and obviously grow my audience. That's kind of what I'm referring to. Every time I say, you know, I appreciate you so much if you watch my videos and you subscribe, it's because I really, really do. And I always have from day one, but now, you know, more than ever, I'm focusing on YouTube like as hard as I possibly can. And so if you share my videos, it means so much to me. So just know how much of an impact you have. If you subscribe, watch my videos, share them, anything, it really just means a lot to me. So I wanted to share that too. I'm gonna go into this as well. This is Wherever Walnut, also from Makeup Forever. And this one's a little more pink. So I'm actually kind of filling in the sides of my lip with this. For the lipstick, this lipstick was so expensive and I was finding I wasn't wanting to use it because it was expensive, which is just silly. And I just love it. I'm so thankful for this Tom Ford lipstick in the shade Blush Nude. I got this a few months ago because this is Kellyanne, of course, my favorite makeup artist. This is her favorite nude lipstick and it's normally out of stock, but it was in stock for like a day or two a few months ago and I got it. It's a really light beigey pink. So I like to just kind of apply it in the center, kind of rub my lips together, but it's such a perfect pinky nude if you like that color of lipstick. Okay, and then one last thing, I'm gonna put a little bit of this. I haven't used this in forever. This used to be my go-to lip gloss, always. It's White Russian from Buxom. Oh, let me spray my face. And that is going to be it for this video. I don't even know if I'll end up posting this. Who knows? I may end up talking myself out of it by the time I go through and edit it, but I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't plan to share all of these things at once, but I don't know. I felt like I kind of needed to talk about it and I just figured I would share it with you because I always meant to. I just didn't really know how. But today kind of felt like the right day. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on YouTube. But I will be posting every day in December, which I'm really excited about. And if you are a returning subscriber, just know how much I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me and my channel. It means so much to me. I will see you guys in my next video. Also, make sure to follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair, and I will see you next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.